All right, let's do this. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the Super Farmer Cigar on the Porch Talks. How's everyone doing here? I've been paying up a little bit now. I'll wait until we show off our drinks and stuff. We do have a special visitor here. Say hello.
Hello. I don't know if that was on the
That
screen.
was right in the screen. You're good. Homeschooling Mama. Why is Homeschooling Mama here? Because we are shooting this on Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day, Homeschooling Mama.
Thank you.
Yes. So what are we smoking? What are we drinking? I have kind of a fun cigar here. Actually, it's kind of being a pain in the butt, which is to be expected. The Macaduni,
Macanudu.
Mac,
Macanudu.
Macanadu. Good. That's pretty close. Inspirado. It's actually a Brazilian cigar. The company isn't from Brazil. I think they use Brazilian wrapper, or maybe it's wrapped in Brazil, or maybe from Brazil. I'm not sure. It's got a few little construction issues that are making it a little bit more difficult than I'm used to smoking. Very, very, very tight draw. I've already poked it once. I might have to poke it again before the night is done. But flavor-wise, pretty good. What are you smoking, honey?
Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah. All right. So for the drink, this one's kind of fun. Odd Side 15 anniversary Imperial Stout, aged in bourbon barrels with blackberry, vanilla, and marshmallow flavoring. So I do like Odd Side beers. Homeschooling Mama's turning her nose up at it.
That sounds like just a weird combination.
This is going to be flavor on top of flavor on top of flavor.
Or none of the flavors are going to come through.
Or none of it's going to come through. I do see the foam is tinted with a blackberry tint. That's kind of fun. If I get that on camera there. Yeah, it's got kind of like a blackberry type hue to it.
Not as easy to see when you use a black cup.
Wow. That's flavor on top of flavor with a little extra flavor. Yeah, fruity, stouty. Definitely can taste the barrel. Like I said before, I'm not sure if barrel will improve that one at all, but yeah, okay. So, what are you drinking, Homeschooling Mama?
My favorite, water.
Mm-hmm. Now, so you all know, can you show them the other thing?
I'm trying.
I did actually grab Homeschooling Mama a beverage. We were going to do the Seagram's Black Cherry, but she reminded me that because it is spring, she's being hit with the everything allergies. Hay fever, grass fever, pollen fever, chicken fever, turkey dust. So she did spent the last few nights sitting up, as when she lays down, she defies physics by making the world spin even quicker than it already is. So no alcoholic beverage, as it probably will not mix well with the antihistamine she's on, even though it's Mother's Day. But before all you naysayers start yelling at me, why didn't I get Homeschooling Mama a frou-frou drink? I did. I got her the frou-frou drink. She's just not fruing it. So anyway, on to our topic. Happy Mother's Day. What are your thoughts? Mother's Day.
I guess you have to preface that with more than just what are your thoughts.
Well, I mean, I can't give my thoughts on Mother's Day first. What do you think of it? Is it worth it? Should we have it? Should we abolish it? Should we... Here, I'll tilt up, actually, so we can see more of the trees. Pretty looking trees over there in our neighbor's blue house.
I don't think most people actually realize what Mother's Day is.
Well, let's explain it for them then.
Okay, so Mother's Day was originally created by, I can't remember her name. Essentially, it was for lost moms.
Ooh.
Bereaved mothers whose infants died, who suffered miscarriage, stillbirth, or infant loss. Mother's Day was actually originally designed for them as a day to remember them, even though their child wasn't with them every day.
Interesting.
You didn't know that?
I did not know that, actually.
Yeah, that was the original
Mother's Day.
The origin of Mother's Day was to focus on mothers who had suffered loss.
I did not know that.
Yep. So I think the way we celebrate it now is kind of odd.
Well, that actually adds an extra layer of oddness to it. Mm-hmm. Because, the big debate right now is someone who doesn't have kids, and it's their choice. Should they be allowed to celebrate Mother's Day? You know, the cat moms and the dog moms.
See, I would say no, because the original purpose of Mother's Day was to celebrate women who had tried to become, like, who had been moms but lost their pregnancy or their baby or whatever.
I'm now more steadfast on my belief that no, you can't celebrate Mother's Day.
Yeah, no, it was originally a bereaved day. It was Bereaved Mother's Day, is actually what it was called. And it was a day to send cards to those women who had lost their sons in war, even like after the wars, like the world wars and stuff. You were like, it was to celebrate those women whose child was not alive.
Now, was Mother's Day started just post World War II, or is it pre World War? It sounds
I want to
like
say
a
in
pre.
the 1800s.
Yeah, it sounds like an 18.
But I don't remember exactly. But yeah, I
that
wanna say
sounds more like an 1800s type celebration. They're pretty big on that stuff.
Yep.
So, well, you definitely put a weird spin to this video now.
I'm sorry, I thought you knew that.
No, I didn't know that.
Yes, that was actually the original purpose of Mother's Day, was to celebrate bereaved mothers who had lost their children. So, like, our current, like, way of celebrating it, like, absolutely dog cat moms. I find it weird to celebrate a day that is meant specifically for women who have lost children. I mean, just like everything else, it's transition now. It doesn't mean that anymore.
Yeah.
It's evolved.
We have changed a lot of our holidays around like that.
So I think with the evolution, I guess modern Mother's Day, if you want to celebrate having dogs, I suppose, but
No, I'm against it. No dog moms allowed.
it's not my thing, but whatever.
Mm-hmm. No, I think I tied with this last year. You look up that video, or maybe I might link it. Who knows? Yeah, to really have someone who, a woman who went through that is what I believe should be celebrated. Not someone who's like, well, I don't want to have kids. I have dogs instead, but I still want to celebrate Mother's Day.
See, I understand that people get attached to their pets, but I would still never compare owning a pet to being a parent. I mean, you might care about your pet, but you'll put your dog in a kennel. I don't think anybody in their right mind is going to kennel their child over the weekend while they go, visiting.
That's a hard statement to make, because there are some parents
No.
out there who-
When I say kennel, I don't mean like a dog kennel in your house. I mean take them someplace and drop them off for 3 days.
Yeah,
with
but some
strangers.
people do take their kids and drop them off at babysitters, or...
But not with strangers. So.
I don't know. My parents did.
So I there's definitely a certain amount of affection and care that people have for their pets, but there's a lot more responsibility and commitment to human children.
Well, commitment is definitely longer than it is for most animals. The only one that can outlive a human's like a turtle.
Well, I'm sure there's some other ones that can outlive humans, but yeah. I'm sure some of the lizard family and
The axolotl.
the axolotl.
Can't they live to be like 50 or 60 or
I
something?
don't know. It's terrifying.
Hers has gotten bigger.
I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah. So, maybe I'll put this as part of the marriage series. Well, this is like going to be video 19 out of 20. So, we'll see. Maybe I'll just leave this as a Mother's Day special video. But I get to shoot so few with you that it's kind of nice to have. So let's look back in the history of Mother's Days.
Okay.
First, how is this Mother's Day today so far?
Good. I mean, not feeling great with the allergies and stuff, but honestly, less drama.
Mm-hmm. Not a lot of drama.
We went to church yesterday, so
Yeah.
not that I dislike going to church on Sunday, but on Mother's Day when they have a big Mother's Day breakfast, everybody comes for the Mother's Day breakfast and stuff, and it feels overcrowded and a little stifling.
True. Do you also know that Mother's Day is the highest? Mother's Day weekend is the highest post.
I did know that, yeah.
Yeah, it's the most postal. Happens on Mother's Day.
Yeah.
So, how's this Mother's Day compared to years past?
Like historically, or I mean ours?
For you, yeah. No, I'm not talking about like how was this Mother's Day compared to the World War One. Or,
No.
I'm not going that retro on you. I know you're kind of taking it back a little bit, but
Um, definitely got fewer handmade gifts this year.
did I kind of put a kibosh to that though?
Yeah.
I asked the girls to, you know, take it a little easy with the handmade gifts because they've been getting
We have so many in our bedroom that I can't keep up with them.
well, and they've been getting a little silly with it.
Yeah.
Where one fairy dancer puts in like tons of effort and tons of time, and then we have other children who
A couple of scraps of paper, but they get horrified
glue
if
together, and
if you don't keep track of it every second.
a little more. It's the effort, a little less, a little less. That's fine. It's fine. It's cute. You might get a Sonic the Hedgehog coloring page that looks like it was maybe aborted in the middle. A little, oh, I was just working on this. I was going to keep it, but I'll give it to Mom instead. So, do any of your Mother's Days stick out?
Of mine?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I
Again,
don't
I'm
know.
not talking about like 1800s.
Wow, I don't know. I don't know if it was for Mother's Day when you guys made the DVD.
It was Christmas.
Was it Christmas?
With the songs?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Christmas.
So, I mean, maybe the one where you guys made the heart.
The heart.
Well, okay, so one of you made a wooden heart, and I think you put like handprints or something on it with names. But then somebody else made a clay heart and actually did all the chambers of the heart and made it was a like in the shape of a real heart. I don't know if you remember that. You don't.
That was me. I don't.
It was one of the kids. I
I
actually think
don't.
it might have been Swedish Compass.
It kind of sounded like more a project you did at school with them and forgot that you did it.
No, I didn't. I didn't.
Okay, all right, good.
But it's like 7 years old now, which is why I think it was Swedish Compass.
That makes sense. Half the children weren't even alive then, so. Or at least not able to complete a project.
Like that. It was after we moved here, but
It was less than 7 years ago.
yeah. It was after we moved here because I don't think it would have survived a move because it's clayish. It's like air dry clay
Gotcha.
and painted. So that one was cute.
Okay.
I don't think one sticks out as better. Maybe actually this one because nobody's fought yet today.
Right.
There hasn't been a bunch of fighting or screaming.
I mean, we can start some if you want.
No,
Just
I'd really prefer not.
hate to break
It's
the
funny
tradition.
because probably 85 to 90% of the time there's like it's chill and nobody's fighting, but on Mother's Day it seems like they just want to like.
Well, the breakfast in the morning usually causes them strife.
That's true, but they didn't make me breakfast today.
You told them not to. You're like, I don't want to be woken up. I don't want breakfast in bed.
Well, because sometimes they make me breakfast in bed and they specifically wake me up at like 7 a.m.
Or they set something on fire, or they scratch something.
Or they fight over who makes what.
Yeah, they fight what to make. Who's going to give Mom the
eggs,
the
toast,
coffee, the milk, the...
Yeah. Because they all want to help and they all want to do it.
And they all want the attaboy from Mom.
Yeah, so when they fight over it, it makes it less.
So no more breakfast in beds. I'm cool with that.
Vashman surprised me because I told him like 3 months ago that I liked that resin soap dish he made, and he made me a specific one.
Made you one, yeah.
He even asked me what colors, and I forgot that he asked me what colors.
Good. You haven't used it yet?
I have not, because it's for hand soap, and I don't usually actually keep hand soap around.
That's for bar soap.
Bar soap.
Hand soap, I still think of the stuff you pump out.
Oh, I suppose. Yeah, it's for a bar of soap, but it has a drain, which is really nice.
Yeah.
But it's funny because he asked me what colors I wanted or would want or liked. And I said pink and purple, like a pink and purple. And then I was like, but the color that would match is probably gray. But he went with the color I liked and not the color that matches.
We can always paint.
I'm good with it. It looks nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is his last Mother's Day at home.
That is true, and probably I want to say the first time he's picked out a gift for me or made a gift for me.
Probably.
I mean, I'm sure he's made me cards and stuff in the past.
Maybe he made the chambered heart.
No, no, way too anatomically correct.
Way too artsy fartsy.
Yeah, he would have made a the traditional heart, not an actual chambered heart that required research. Which kind of makes me think it was maybe Wild and Free Wolf, because she was into that sort of thing about 5 years ago.
True.
So, I mean, it even had the ventricles, and
Yeah, I think I've seen it recently.
yeah, it's still in our room.
Yeah. Oh, very cool.
It's very heavy.
Yes.
The necklace, I guess.
That was for your
compass.
birthday, though. That wasn't for
Was that?
Mother's Day. Yeah, that was for your birthday.
No, because he wasn't born on my birthday. We had this discussion before.
Well, maybe it was on Mother's Day. You're
I think
right.
it was Mother's Day.
Swedish Compass did. I think she's the first one to actually physically purchase you a real gift.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I mean, that's not fair because a lot of times you take them shopping.
True. Well, I mean, has a job. She had a job before Vashman, so.
Yeah. So I would say this one is definitely the most relaxed, chill one. Which is saying something because I feel kind of cruddy.
You look and feel like crap, yeah.
But
You
today
definitely
is
tell
better.
you're sick. Huh?
Today is better than
Yes. Yes, you have been. You better be improving, though, because we got some pretty stellar meds. Strong enough meds that, yeah, you're probably right. You shouldn't drink them. So.
I'm glad I remembered before I opened it. So.
I thought of it. I probably would have stopped you before you opened it, but I think having one brouhaha would not.
No, but adding
not
on to
cause.
dizziness from like fluid on your ears probably not a good idea. So.
Who
And the
knows,
fire
maybe,
pit.
maybe to clear it out.
The fire pit is nice.
The fire pit is nice. Not exactly something you were pining for, yearning for, but you're the one who put your foot down. If we have a fire pit in the front yard, it has to be elevated.
Well, I think that just makes sense.
Well, I really don't care.
I like I like the grass, and I don't want the grass to be myrtleized.
I hate grass. So.
To be 100% honest, I thought you were going to do your video with the fire pit
Yeah.
on,
I
like
could've.
with a fire going. And then I was like, well, it's a little bright because it's been, the sun is still really high.
We had to get this in before baby boy woke up and stole the video again. So
He is sound asleep, I think, for a while.
hopefully, you look
Well,
pretty tired.
He paced the yard multiple times. He probably did a baby 3 mile.
Nice.
So he was definitely tired.
He was. He only made through one side and tanked out.
Poor guy.
Yeah, poor baby.
So what are your thoughts on Mother's Day, other than you shouldn't celebrate it if you only have cats and dogs?
I mean, I'm always the fan of both Mother's Day and Father's Day, that we shouldn't have to have a special day to venerate our parental units. So I've never really been a fan of it. Either
Well,
one.
interestingly enough, I don't know if Father's Day had a history the same way as Mother's Day.
Probably not.
I'm probably leaning towards no. Like Mother's Day, Bereaved Mother's Day started, and then
That makes sense. And it was just kind of like, well, where's Father's Day then?
yeah, as it transitioned, the meaning transitioned.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you go online and you read historical Mother's Day cards, it's actually really
Dark.
they're condolences, but they're also like hopeful.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay. Interesting. Very interesting.
I am really surprised you didn't know that, though.
I did not know that.
That's-
Of course, I didn't really look into the history of that stuff, so that is something random I usually wouldn't know, though.
That kind of, and I didn't look into the history of it either. I just came across a couple of articles about it
Yeah.
through Still Standing, I think.
Okay. We probably should mention the big news. We do have a new pope.
Oh, yes.
As long as we're kind of dying out on the Mother's Day topic, so we do have a new pope. Congratulations. Last name was Presto?
Prevost.
Prevost? Cardinal Prevost.
Officially Leo the 14th.
The 14th.
You were correct. Leo was the one that did the St. Michael's prayer.
Yes, I know I was correct. I smoke cigars and know these things, but apparently not Mother's Day things, so.
I did not realize. So I knew he was from Chicago, but he's actually a Peruvian citizen now because he was there so long that he got his Peruvian
Dual citizenship.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got dual citizenship.
I don't know about dual, but I do know he's
No,
Peruvian.
it's dual.
Is it-
They made a big deal about that he did not renounce his U.S. citizenship.
Well, and then I don't know if anybody on here probably not watches Father Mike Schmidt, but he did a like first impressions, and he was explaining that that as the first pope from America, and they're both actually from Chicago. I didn't know Father Mike Schmidt was from Chicago. I guess it makes sense. Anyway, he mentioned that a lot of people expected him to speak in English.
In English, yeah, and he did not.
And he actually spoke in, I don't know if you were paying attention, he spoke a little bit in Latin.
We started in Italian. They have to
Italian.
speak Italian because as the Bishop of
Italy.
Rome,
Yeah,
Italy,
Rome.
you have to. So the first speech actually has to be in Italian.
He only did one speech from the balcony, really.
Okay, but he actually used two languages.
Yeah, he
did
started
Latin.
with Italian and then he switched to Spanish, actually, and he did Latin
Yeah, so
for
it's
the
three,
prayers.
yep. He did address the cardinals for the first time, though, in English.
Yeah, I didn't see that, though.
Mhm.
I didn't hear that. So.
Well, no one did. We're not cardinals. It was.
I want to hear I would love, so listening to him address the people in Italian and then Spanish, I actually understood a good portion of the words, so I could, follow what he was saying, but I would really love to read a translation. I haven't done that.
See, that's funny because when they were announcing him in Latin, I understood. I know who the Pope is.
I understood his name as they were announcing in Latin, but ours, they announced his name, and then
Oh,
it went to a commercial break on YouTube.
that's funny.
So we were very frustrated, actually.
Yes.
But yeah, kind of impressive. That was an interesting ceremony. We had kids and I were looking into why he wore red, because the first pope to wear red, I think, was John Paul II, or John Paul the Great, I guess is what he's called now.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think Benedict
Benedict
followed
followed.
that, but
And
Pope
then
Francis did not.
wanted. Yeah, he actually made an edict that the first thing that he did as Pope was to reverse Leo. So Benedict wanted all subsequent popes to only be in white when they present themselves, but one of his first things he did was to reverse that edict, so he could wear the more traditional red vestments.
Well, interesting, that's not traditional. The one who started it was John Paul the Great, it sounds like.
I think it was before him too. I think it goes back and forth. I think some
it
popes
might
adopt
just
it,
be
some don't.
But yeah, it was really interesting. So, but that's not just red that John Paul wore red. That is the piece that John Paul wore.
Interesting.
So,
Time will tell.
yeah, I'm curious to see what's going to happen. Very interested to read some of the commentary.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's going to be a good 100 days before you get any feeling of anything.
Oh, if not longer.
Yeah.
It might take even longer than that before you really. It might take a year or two at the Vatican speed.
Well, and he's virtually unknown to most people. Because he was not in the short list of most of the people that
Nope,
were.
he was an unheard of or an unknown.
Now, I'm sure the cardinals knew him because he was obviously very involved in the Vatican.
Yeah.
Because Pope Francis actually appointed him there.
So I actually learned interesting. So you've always heard that there should never be a American pope, right?
Well, I had always said, I had heard that there never will be, but not that there should never be.
Yeah. So the reason is pre World War II,
Mm-hmm.
there was no way to get there was very few American cardinals for one,
Mm-hmm.
but then there was no way to get the cardinal to the Vatican in the time frame.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until they had reliable flights. But then they said after the U.S. dropped the bomb in World War II, and then the CIA was uncovered, was actively trying to infiltrate the Vatican. It basically was, yeah, we're not going to give the U.S. the power of the papacy. So they said with picking an American, it actually is like a huge paradigm shift.
Mm-hmm.
So it's quite interesting. I was following some of that. They were bringing that up about why there hasn't been an American pope until now.
Well, the distance was definitely a problem in centuries past, but I would say easily the last 100 years. I would say easily the last 100 years, it shouldn't have been such a barrier.
Mm-hmm. Well, less than 100. Reliable air traffic was not a thing until after World War II. Even in World War One, they all came over. Even in World War II, they came over in ships.
Okay.
Like you didn't have the
You still have a
transatlantic
good
flights.
70 years.
Yeah, I'm not
flights.
disagreeing, but that's only represents we found out like 3 popes.
A few popes, yeah. Okay.
So.
Well, no, that'd be 4 popes, but.
Okay, this is the 4th.
5th.
5th.
Yeah.
John Paul's in the 60s.
No, John Paul was in the 70s.
Is he 70s? Oh. Okay.
And then the Pope before him was only for 2 months, and the Pope before him was in 39.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Fine. It's been a few, but yes, after World War II, they didn't want to have. They thought that when we took out Russia, we were too powerful.
Well, I mean, I didn't get to listen to the entire commentary, but Father Mike actually went into that too. Father Mike Schmidt. I didn't get to watch the whole video because I was doing other stuff with the baby, but yeah, he was addressing that and why the thought was that it would never happen, and why he doesn't think it's going to be a problem.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
you couldn't. I mean, this guy's pretty diverse.
From what I understand, he's been in Peru almost as long as he's been a U.S. citizen, or it lived in the U.S.
Yeah,
because he went quick after he was ordained.
Yeah, he went there in the 80s.
Yeah.
And he actually wasn't in Peru that whole time. He was in Peru like 20 years, and then he's actually been in the Vatican.
Yeah.
For quite some time. He was a bishop. He's actually only been a cardinal for 2 years.
Yes, I knew that.
Which is kind of a short time, but considering he doesn't actually have to be a cardinal to be elected pope. So yeah, but we got a lot of questions about that at co-op on
I bet.
Friday, because there's a good amount of Catholics in our co-op now. So some of us were having a conversation about about it,
Right.
while the other ones were like, "Wait, what does this mean?" So it was definitely interesting.
Right. Tell us more.
Tell us more. Yes. So
Good enough. Well, the wind's starting to pick up, so we're getting nothing but wind artifact here. I don't know if you're actually going to be able to hear this. And I'm going to go finish my falling apart cigar.
that cracked.
Yeah, it did. I'm going to let our exchange student know that he doesn't need to bring me cigars from Brazilian cigars. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Funny.
Yeah. Anyway, folks, hope you got a wonderful Mother's Day celebration if you actually have kids or had kids or whatnot. No, dog moms, sorry. Do not apply. Yeah. And I guess we're just going to go enjoy the new Pope and kind of veg out, and hopefully kids continue to not pick. So, anyway, stay safe out there. See you in the next one.